Hello everyone, I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, let's go to work, let's get your workout started, whatever it is that you do when you watch these videos. I also have to let you guys know that I am I'm extremely sick. My throat is very, very scratchy. I have a cough drop on standby just in case I need it. So if I sound nasally, if I sound just off, it's because of that. So I thought I would mention that. Now, before we continue, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and I have been rocking for the last couple of days. That is the Chanel mini rectangular flap in the black lambskin with the light gold hardware. All right, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Hopefully I can get through the video without hacking up along. I know. Really bad visual. All right, first question from Alicia Samuels. I've had my eye on the Yves Saint-Laurent large flat bag in black grained leather with gold hardware for a year. It makes my heart sing. But I am a super casual dresser, and sometimes I feel like it is such a classy, grown-up bag and might not fit with my lifestyle. So I've had my eye on the Celine Nano and Celine or Dune in the drum leather and silver hardware. It more fits my lifestyle. What do you think of each bag? Which one would you go for? All right, so most of you know I do have the Celine mini luggage in Celine with the drum leather, and I am a huge, huge fan of that bag. The Dune is another beautiful neutral, and I really like the way that the colors look with the Celine leather, especially the drum leather. So I'm a big, big fan of that silhouette. I'm not too crazy about the Nano, just because I prefer the larger handbag, but I still absolutely love the leather and the color that you are thinking of. Now, the Yves Saint-Laurent large flat bag, it reminds me of the Chanel GST, and I am just such a big fan of that bag. I really like how it looks, and I'd have to say that, number one, you have to go for the bag that makes your heart sing. In this case, it's the Yves Saint-Laurent. Number two, adding a handbag that's a little classier, I feel adds variety to your collection. And I say that because I consider myself to be a very, very casual dresser. And, you know, I prefer to use sneakers over heels at any point in time. That's just the way that I am. So having a handbag that is not so casual, as I said before, adds variety to your collection. And number three, when you have a handbag like that, the classier handbags that, you know, as you mentioned, it's very easy to dress them up and dress them down. Case in point, as I mentioned, I am a very, I'm a very, very casual dresser. The jumbo from Chanel, the medium large, some people think that you only have to wear them, you know, with a really, you have to be dressed to the nines when you wear that type of handbag. However, I dress it down all the time because I wear a t-shirt and jeans and Converse, my Vans, and I use the handbag. And it's really, I mean, it just screams my style. That's just what I end up liking. So as I said before, number one, go for the bag that makes your heart sing, especially if you've thought about it for over a year or for a year. It adds variety, and you can dress them up and dress them down at any point in time. And the grained leather from Yves Saint-Laurent is absolutely wonderful. So I think that it will also end up holding its shape very, very well. So those are just my 2 cents. I don't think that, a dressier handbag should be worn when you're super dressed up or anything like that. Dressing it down and just, like as I mentioned, just being your own style, I think is perfect because it adds to, it's your personality that you're showing when you use that handbag, if that makes any sense. So I say go for the Yves Saint-Laurent. But that's, like I said before, just my 2 cents. But great question. Moving on to the next question from A. What are your thoughts on Chanel boy wallets? I've got my eyes on them, and I would like to know if they're worth the price. Also, if they're better or worse than flap wallets. This is a great question, and when it comes to boy wallets, I definitely have a love-hate relationship. I love the fact that they have so many different color combinations that aren't offered on the other wallets. But there is one thing that drives me crazy about them, and that's the fact that boy wallets tend to have quite a bit of plastic parts to them. I think it was 2 years ago when I was looking at a boy wallet. They are known for having the plastic zipper, and the hardware is actually plastic as well. I think that they've since changed that because this beauty, you guys haven't seen it. This is the item that I was talking about on my massive birthday haul that was coming in the mail. This is the O-zip in the gray lambskin with the ruthenium hardware. So this piece is the one that I was talking about that 2 years ago, this used to be made out of plastic. Now it's made out of metal. But they have the metal, or they have the plastic closure around it. Now this one is the same as the O-Zip in the classic silhouette. This one has the metal around it. And these two are the exact same price. You would think, oh, I would assume that the plastic ones would be a little bit less expensive than the metal. And you know, I was a little skeptical on adding this item to my collection because of the plastic zipper. Because you never know, especially if something, you know, something like this that you constantly interact with, I feel like one of the teeth might be easier to pop off out of the plastic one versus the metal one. But I wonder why it is that they still add that, you know, add that feature to these, to the boy wallets. And the large zip wallet from Chanel, the larger one that I've showed you guys before, that one has a plastic zipper on the inside. But for the most part, the way you get in and out of the wallet, it has the metal zip around closure. So, you know, it just kind of, maybe, you know, it worries me a little too much. However, a lot of people, I asked quite a bit of my friends, and they said that the plastic, they haven't had any issues with wear and tear and whatnot. So I'm going to put this thing through the ringer, kind of like I do with this, just to see how well it holds up. And I definitely look forward to doing like a wear and tear video on it, or just discussing, or just a review in general about how this has held up. So that's why I said I have a love-hate relationship with them, because I don't think for the price they should have any plastic parts on them whatsoever. And as I mentioned, the large zip wallet does have that plastic zipper, but even then, I think that it should all be metal. I mean, that's just how I feel. That's what I think. But as far as are they worth it, from what I have read, from what I have seen, no one has had any issues with the plastic zipper. So if you guys have, let us know in the comment section down below, because this is still a fairly new item to my collection, and I would like to know if that's something that I should look out for, or just your feedback on boy wallets in general. So I haven't had the, I haven't been able to fully experience the wallet in order to say yay or nay. I can just tell you my initial thoughts and just how I feel about them having so many plastic parts to the piece, if that makes any sense. So again, if you guys have the wallets, if you guys have had positive feedback or negative feedback, let us know in the comment section down below, because I am very, very interested as well. But as I said before, they have some awesome color combinations with the boy wallets, and I would really like them to kind of put those into the classic wallets, so that maybe if you're not looking for something like this, you can end up going for something like this with just a little bit more variety, if that makes any sense. So we will see how this wears. I have used it a couple times and I haven't had any issues, but I am kind of nervous. I'm not babying it whatsoever, so we'll see how it turns out. So hopefully that was able to answer your question. So it's not necessarily better or worse. It's just something that's, you know, it's just kind of like, why does it have the plastic? Do you guys feel that way? Or am I crazy? I feel like, I don't know. Just let me know if you guys feel that way as well. All right, next question from Teresa Tries Chanel 5. Can a hot stamp be removed? This is an awesome question, and yes and no. When it comes to hot stamping, especially Louis Vuitton, you're able to remove the foil or the color that they use the hot stamp with. However, because they're using a hot press on the leather, the indentation you won't be able to get rid of. The indentation will start to go away over time the more and more you use the item, but for the most part, you'll still be able to see it. But you can definitely get rid of the color that they use for the hot stamp. It is very, very tricky. It's a lot harder to get off on, you know, something such as empreinte. It's a little bit easier on the cross-grain leather lining inside of the wallets with the canvas, because it's a little sturdier. It's a little bit thicker. And of course, empreinte is just a little bit of a softer leather. So you have to be really, really careful. I was doing some research on this. I think it was probably 6 or 7 months ago, and some people were using packing tape to try to lift it off, and some people were using warm water and all these other things to try to rub it out. So as I said before, you are able to do it, but it's super, I mean, you have to be really, really careful if you were to use the tape, if you were to use the water. I think if you look on the Purse Forum, there's a long thread on it. So I highly suggest you guys check it out if that's something that interests you, or if there's something that you guys have tried, let us know in the comment section down below. I am all about interacting with you guys and having, you know, other subbies interact with other subbies on my channel. So that's why I'm constantly saying, let us know in the comment comment section down below. But you just have to definitely take your time. You don't want to rub, you just want to just like pat and see if it comes off. I know one of my girlfriends did it on one of her items, and I think it took her like a day, not a full day, like a 24 hours of sitting there, but she was just carefully going back to the item, letting the leather dry, and then going back at it again. So it is possible. It's just you're not able to remove the indentation because, again, the hot press on the leather, it's just something that's going to be there. But over time, that same indentation starts to wear down a little bit more the more you use the item. So hopefully that was able to answer your question. All right, next question from Ying Lee. Many British luxe YouTubers have mentioned crazy Chanel price increases, several since Brexit. It just makes some of the key pieces as expensive as they are in the US. Would you still consider purchasing Chanel during your March trip? This is an awesome question, and I've been thinking about this for the last month, to be honest. I have been, I've been following the prices, and I've been following the increases just to figure out what exactly I want to buy when I'm over there. And I can tell you that if the speculation comes to fruition, as far as the 2 to 3 price increases happens from now until, to March, I highly doubt that I will end up getting any Chanel goodies when I'm in London, unless it's something that I absolutely cannot get here in the States, because right now, as it stands right now, it seems that I would still get quite a bit of savings if I was to get, let's say, a medium large or a jumbo. I'd still get quite a bit of savings. But as those price increases continue to happen, if I end up saving $100 or $125, I still would end up getting it here in the States versus getting it in London, just because of the whole convenience factor. Because whenever I do travel, obviously I have to think about bringing it back into the States, making sure that it's in my carry-on. And like I told you guys before, if you watched my travel video, I will be doing a video on that as well, as far as how to pack your items to bring them back home or whatever. But you have to go to VAT. You have to figure out all those things. So just the whole convenience factor. And if I was to only save $100 by getting it over there versus getting it here in the States, I would still end up getting it here in the States, if that makes any sense. It also depends on what you end up using to buy your items. I know that one of my credit cards doesn't charge me at all for buying things overseas. It doesn't charge me the exchange rate or whatever it is. But another one of our credit cards does. It actually charges me almost 3%. So if I'm saving 10% VAT, and then I still get charged for my credit card the 3%, I'm only saving the 7%. And I know that the 7% is a big difference on a $4,000 item or a 4,000 pound item. But at the same time, if those price increases continue to happen, the whole thing of having to bring it back into the States, and if I get taxed, depending upon how much I end up bringing back home, then I'm going to get charged again. So then the savings aren't going to be the same. You know what I mean? So the whole convenience factor of being able to buy it here, or just having to be put on a wait list and waiting for it to come out, then that's something that I might end up having to do. So I know that I would really, really, really like to buy the Louis Vuitton Speedy 30 in Damier Ebene when I'm over there. Because I have a better chance, or I have the best chance of getting one made in France versus here in the States. So I'm constantly looking at the prices just to see, if it ends up working out. And whether it's Louis Vuitton, whether it's any other fashion house, if those price increases continue to happen, I think that it's just something that I'm going to have to take into consideration and possibly just wait to buy here in the States when I come back, or maybe now. I'm trying to be good. I still haven't bought anything. I'm still on Ban Island. But, it's just something that I really, really have to think about. And if I'm able to just enjoy London and I don't have to worry about VAT, I don't have to worry about, VAT stands for value added tax. If I don't have to worry about anything like that and I could just enjoy my time when I'm there, then that's the best part of it all. So, at this moment, it looks like I will be able to get some Chanel goodies at a good savings, but if those price increases happen, I don't think it might not be something that'll end up working out. Fingers crossed, you guys, that I can get some Chanel goodies when I'm over there, because I'm trying to save for London. I want to be able to buy some awesome items when I'm over there and save some money, so we will see. All right, next question from Cindy Arrington. You and many other luxury YouTubers always talk about your holy grail and your unicorn pieces. Can you please define those for me? Right now, I'm on Ban Island, but the new red black Pochette Métis is making my heart sing. Would that be considered one of those categories? It depends. But when it comes to Holy Grail usually tends to be that bag that's at the top of your wish list. And 9 times out of 10, from what I have seen and from what I have heard, that handbag is usually the most expensive out of your wish list. And for me, it was my Chanel Jumbo. When I was younger, I always loved that bag. Anytime I saw it, I just felt like I constantly drooled when I saw that bag. And it was really one of those items that I never thought in a million years I would ever own in my collection. Just because the price tag was just, even the price tag now is still crazy expensive. And I was just thinking, oh, there's no way, there's no way. So it's that bag that you want the most. It's your end all be all bag of your collection, if that makes any sense. Now, when it comes to unicorn pieces are those items that are very, very elusive, that don't even make it out onto the sales floor because there's a long wait list. And whenever you go into the boutique and you ask about them, they always say, oh, we haven't seen that bag for 5-6 years, but you just saw someone on YouTube unboxing it. So they're those types of handbags that, you know, you hear about and you know about them, but then when you go to ask about them, they're nowhere to be seen. So they're very, very hard to find. Kind of like the mini rectangular in the black lambskin and the caviar leather one that I have. I will have to say that another unicorn item that I have noticed is the Chanel 6 key holder. Some sales associates have been telling people that they haven't made it in like 5-6 years. It's out of production. That is not the case. I have had 3 or 4 of my sales associates actually tell me that they're just slowly bringing them back in. So before, if they had a shipment of 5 or 6, now they only have 1 or 2, and there's a wait list for those. So that's another item that's become a unicorn item. But no, it's not the case that they stopped making them altogether. It's just that they're highly sought after as well. So that's what unicorn and holy grail means. Some people might have a different interpretation of it, but that's what it means to me. Yeah, so if the Pochette Métis is a holy grail bag, if that bag is on your wish list, if that's the #1 bag, like I mentioned earlier, then that would be a holy grail item. But it's all a matter of what, it's all a matter of what the item means to that person, if that makes any sense. Because some people, might think that a Birkin is the end all be all item for their collection. That's the bag that they aspire to get, if that makes sense. So hopefully that was able to answer your question. But that's what unicorn and holy grail mean to me. Right, next question from Just Jamie. As a lover of all things Louis Vuitton for close to 2 decades, I've seen a recent pattern, this whole wear and tear thing. Of course, if an item, say within the first year, starts falling apart, absolutely it is an issue. But at what point do you think it's unreasonable to have expectations that an item you use hundreds of times will not have wear and tear? I mean, we would never expect our car to go 10 years without having scratches and dings, and we would never expect our house, the carpet, to look the same way it did when we moved in 5 years ago. But some people think that LV should last 100 years and look the same day as it did the day that you bought it. At what point do you think that wear and tear is just that? I was at Louis Vuitton last week when a woman brought a 6 key holder, 3 years old, complaining. I mean, honestly, that item is $250. I think at some point we are holding Louis Vuitton to an unreal expectation. What are your thoughts on this? This is an awesome question, and I agree with you 100%. And sometimes I feel that we don't discuss this enough on YouTube, myself included. We always talk about the wear and tear, but we don't discuss the unrealistic expectations that we have for these fashion houses. Now, when it comes to buying from Louis Vuitton, when it comes to buying from Chanel or any other fashion house that charges the amount of money that they do for their items, whether it's handbags or SLGs or shoes or whatever it is, you are paying for quality. So I expect quality from Louis Vuitton. I expect quality from Chanel. However, I also have to be honest with myself that that price tag also includes the brand name that you're paying for. I can't just say that it's all about quality, it's all about quality. No, you're also paying for that brand name. A lot of it does have to do with the quality, so don't get me wrong. I feel that some of these other items will definitely outlast and wear a lot better than other brands and other contemporary brands. But when it comes to items that are within that year time frame, I feel that even if we baby the item, and if sometimes you feel that the varnish is starting to crack, that the stitching is starting to fall apart, and whenever you take it into Louis Vuitton, they always say a case-by-case scenario, because everyone treats their items differently, right? So I might think I'm babying it this way, but their interpretation of babying an item is completely different. So that's why they implement the whole case-by-case scenario. So within that year, if within the first 2-3 months the varnish is completely cracking, even if it's an item that I have been using, I feel that they should be able to repair it, or they should be able to replace it depending upon whatever they assess the item with the type of wear. And if it's an item that is 3 years old, such as the 6 key holder that you discussed, I have one that's, what, 10, 11 years old? I can't remember. That thing has been put through the ringer. It has paid for itself a million times over. And I even said that that's not an item that I would probably end up getting repaired, because I will probably just end up getting a new one. You know, but I think that within that year, within the first few months, if it starts to wear, then it's not so much as wear and tear, but it's more so a fact of what's it called, of quality control. So maybe they didn't properly stitch it, or maybe they didn't properly put the varnish on the edging, or whatever it is. So the case-by-case scenario, like I said before, it's something that we have discussed on Minks Monday, but they're really able to see the item and assess it to see if it is proper, if it is wear and tear from the item, or if it is a quality control issue. But when people are bringing items in that are 5-6 years old, and whether it's a handbag that shows considerable amount of wear, at that point I feel it is wear and tear. At that point I feel that it is because the person was using it constantly. But I also feel that because I'm paying the amount of money for these items, I do expect that quality to last a lot longer than a contemporary brand that uses glue versus hand stitching or stitching for an item, if that makes any sense. But when it comes to Louis Vuitton in specific, I definitely, you know, I'm mindful of how I use the item. And if it's something that I'm constantly wearing, something that I'm constantly using, if after 2 years it starts to wear this way, it starts to wear that way, then I know it's because of how I'm personally using it. But you are really going to be able to see the quality control issues come about within the first couple of months. So I really like the fact that they do give you that 1 year to be able to enjoy the item and see if you have the wear and tear. But I think that within those first couple of months, or when you're really going to be able to see how the item ends up wearing, or if it does have any issues. But at the end of the day, I expect Louis Vuitton, I expect all these other luxury brands to last a lot longer than the contemporary brands, as I mentioned earlier. I'm not saying I don't expect them to fall apart. I don't expect them to show considerable amount of wear and tear, but I think that the first couple of months are when you can really tell if something is having an issue. You know, kind of like the Pochette Métis, that the first one that I had, it had wear on the varnish. It started to crack, and it happened within the first couple of months. That shouldn't have happened. So the fact that I took it into the boutique, and I was prepared to pay for the repair. I was prepared to pay for them to tell me what I needed to do next. But the fact that they said that, they didn't fully say that it was a quality issue, but the fact that they offered me a brand new one just goes to show that they backed their item, if that makes any sense. Sometimes I really wish they would say, you know what, yes, it was a quality control issue, but they won't. I've never heard someone fully come out and say that, if that makes any sense. But yeah, for people to take items in that are years old, or that show excessive wear and tear, and to complain about the cracking, or to complain about this, that, and the other, I think that is definitely unrealistic. But at the same time, you know, I feel that a lot of people think that, as you mentioned, that they have this idea that something should last 100 years. It definitely shouldn't last 100 years, but it should last more than 3 months. If you know, without it cracking, without it ripping, without the seams happening or anything like that. So again, like I mentioned earlier, let us know in the comments section down below what your guys' thoughts are. You know, do you think that sometimes people are being too unreasonable? Do you think people are being, you know, unrealistic? So let us know in the comment section down below what you think. All right, next question from Courtney R. I have had a sales associate and has been my SA for maybe 2 to 2.5 years now. He's super great in person person, and he's patient and generous. He even bonds with my husband, which is cool. The problem is when we're not in the store, it seems like I don't exist. It's like out of sight, out of mind. He has answered my emails in the past, which I appreciate, but he doesn't keep me up to date on things I might like or reach out to me. I guess what I'm saying is he doesn't pursue me. I pursue him. Would this be a deal breaker for you? I hear all these wonderful stories on YouTube about sales associates that keep in touch with their customers and reach out to them, not the other way around. What would you do? Great question. And I think that, would it be a deal breaker for me? Absolutely not. And the only reason I say that is because the sales associate is still providing they're still providing you service when you're at the boutique. And as you mentioned, he also responded to your emails. What I would end up doing is, especially if you've had him for 2.5 years, so you definitely have a history with him, I would just let him know next time you're at the boutique, just say, you know, I'm constantly looking to expand my Louis Vuitton collection. If you get new items in, or if you hear of new items or the lookbook, will you let me know? And that way, you know, just remind them, a friendly reminder that you're very interested in expanding your Louis Vuitton collection. But we also have to remember that there's one sales associate for maybe 100 or 50 to 100 people that they have on their, you know, in their Rolodex or on their phone or what have you. So just a friendly reminder would be what I would end up doing, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. I have 2 sales associates that end up reaching out to me and say, hey, we got this in, or hey, we have this sale coming up. And I have other ones that whenever I'm at the boutique, they have awesome customer service, or when I call them, they'll answer my emails, they'll respond to my phone calls, my texts, or what have you. But I don't expect them to as you said, to pursue me, because the 2 that I was talking about earlier, they're more so friends with the bonus of them being a sales associate. And I really think that's where it differentiates. So I think a lot of people end up having different relationships with their sales associates. Some people click better with others, you know, and it's all a matter of how that chemistry, or how that relationship is. But it's definitely not something that I would knock against the person. So hopefully that was able to help you out. But the fact that you guys have 2.5 years, you have that relationship already, you have the time, and he knows what you like and what you don't like. So just a friendly reminder, I think, would be fantastic. So hopefully that was able to help. All right, last question from Linda. As you know, I have a brand new Josephine wallet. Did you polish the button with clear nail polish? I have heard of people doing this, so I just wondered. I also asked Santa for the 6-key holder for Christmas in fuchsia. Should I polish that button or just leave it? This is an awesome question, and I've actually, within the last 2.5 weeks, I've had 6 or 7 people send me DMs on Instagram asking me this exact thing, so I thought that I would address it here on Minks Monday. Now, I had a feeling as to the answer on this item, but I went ahead and I called customer service, and I also called a few of my sales associates, and they all agreed with what I had initially thought. If you are to put clear nail polish on your Josephine, on your Emily, because sometimes these buttons, the leather buttons, tend to wear a little bit quicker, you'll be able to see them. I've had my wallet for quite some time. I've never had the button replaced, and as you can see, it has a little bit of wear and tear on there. But if you are to put clear nail polish on any of the items, when you, let's say that within 2 to 3 months, the clear nail polish, ends up falling off or chipping off, and then you have the wear and tear on the button. Let's say you go to Louis Vuitton and you want to get it repaired. Louis Vuitton will actually deny your repair because you have altered the item. You have put that clear coat of polish on top of it. So, I know that sometimes, well, actually you can see the wear and tear a little bit better now with this camera. So when it starts to rub off within that year, as I mentioned earlier, it might be something that you can get repaired. Some people have gotten the buttons repaired for free. It's all a matter of, the case-by-case scenario, as we discussed earlier. But I would highly advise against doing it, just in case you do get that wear, just in case you want to get it repaired or replaced. That way you don't have to worry about them denying the repair. So those are just my 2 cents. This isn't a knock against anyone that has done it before in the past, and maybe you guys have had great success if this is something that you have done. But I'm just saying, in the long run, if you decide to get it repaired, I would advise against doing it, because That way, let's say 6 months from now, you don't do anything, it starts to show the wear and tear and they end up replacing it, repairing it. I would much rather do that than add, you know, the clear coat of nail polish. But those are just my 2 cents, and that's what I would end up doing. So hopefully that was able to help. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I think I'm a little under what I would normally end up doing it, but hopefully I didn't sound too nasally and I was able to get through that. But thank you guys so much for all of the wonderful questions. And again, you know, I love interacting with you guys in the comment section down below. So if any of you guys have any advice for any of us at any point in time, please feel free to leave it down below. And this is the last Minks Monday of 2016, as I mentioned last week. So I will come back for MMQA, which stands for Minks Monday Q&A, because I also had someone ask me what it stands for. I will be back next year, you know, and I'll be more than happy to continue the questions and answers. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I was able to help, and I will see you a few times this week. I have a What's in My Mini because I have been using it, so I figured it would be a perfect time to do the What's in My Bag. I also have an exciting YouTube collaboration video on Saturday, and I don't know what I'm going to do for Wednesday. I might or might not see you on Wednesday, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.